Go ahead.
Hi, this is Cheryl Whitehouse from San Diego, and you're listening to Body Electrician Live. I'm joined with my co-host Nancy Piscatello tonight in New York. Hi,
Okay.
Nancy. And we've got a special guest tonight who makes an occasional appearance, Dr. Wil Spencer. Hi, Will.
Hello.
And tonight we're going to be talking about emotions, our health, and something we've all been experimenting with lately called mindfulness. So hope you enjoy us for the next hour or so.
There we go. Lots to talk about, right, Will?
Absolutely.
We'll just wind you up and let you go.
Well, yeah, because this is where health really begins,
Sure.
or that's where illness really begins, or both.
Exactly. Well, we had another show a while back on emotions and how it affects the health, but this one we figured it'd be kind of cool to tie in the whole, as Cheryl said, the mindfulness as well, because you've been working a lot with that as well, right, Will?
For a long time. It's just lately that we're discovering there's other people that are seeing the benefit of this, and science has actually given us some real data that substantiates what we're doing with the mindfulness regarding our physical health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's quite popular now. They even talked about it at my daughter's college graduation during the speech that the keynote speaker gave. They were all graduating. So it's definitely something at the forefront of people's thinking these days, and just to maintain a balance in life.
Absolutely. Will, you deal with a lot of different clients. I mean, what's your take on what the mindfulness can help with? I mean, what doesn't it help with? What does it help with? Are there limits to it?
It's easier to talk about what happens when you don't do it.
Okay.
uh, when you're not present, when you're not aware of the internal workings of yourself.
Right.
I mean, because very common people can't sleep. They
Right.
you know they have a problem going to sleep. They don't stay asleep. They only sleep for a couple of hours. And most everybody that I talk to, you ask a simple question of what why don't you sleep? Well, I'm anxious. Okay, why are you anxious? The voice in my head is talking to me, or the thoughts in my head won't stop, or the movie, the IMAX theater that goes on in my head, when I close my eyes, runs me, or I'm connected to it, or they think that those thoughts are actually there consciously, where it's not that. It's like a permanent distraction,
Right.
keeping you from calming down and relaxing.
Sure.
I mean, this is the biology of aggression by NATO. That research that began coming over here from the 40s from Germany. They just brought all those tactics over here, and basically we now have a country, a continent, that's one big prison camp experiment like they were doing over in Germany, where they would be using noises and distractions of all different kinds to keep people on edge,
Right.
so they couldn't sleep, so they couldn't be awake, so they couldn't function. So people are just like that all the time now. I mean, the majority of the people that I talk to, and I'll lump myself into that until I was in my 20s, I figured some of this out. That voice in our head that talks to us nonstop sometimes, like
Yeah.
nonstop, like blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's like there. And when you stop, like just take 10 seconds. Most people can't sit 10 seconds by themselves in quietness because the blah blah in the head freaks them out. What is that? That's what I love about mindfulness. When I discovered it back in 19, well, early 1990, 91, the the mindfulness to bring your attention to control the mind rather than that mind or that blah blah controlling you, and then separating yourself from that. That's a biggie. So that's a whole conversation. We can take that wherever you want because that's real personal with me. And what we're doing with exercise is you can now go to our website, bodyelectrician.com, and there's actually a tab there. And there's some resources in there now. If you haven't been to the website, I don't know if you, Nancy or Cheryl, if you've been to the website recently.
Not too recently, but
No,
you.
but our newest hand scan hub in Seattle, Joel, he's also an IT guy, and he's taken it on to update and rebuild our websites. So he's been working feverishly to put information in there, update things, making it function better. So you should be surprised at the information and how it's working. If not, let me know if something's not working because it's Joe's job to make it work right.
Okay.
But there's information with this mindfulness techniques that are very powerful and they're very simple. Me personally, that not only the meditation is powerful, or just taking 20 minutes a day or several times a day if you can. We've got some clients that have devoted 2 to 3 hours a day to mindfulness. And the improvement in their health, physically, mentally, is so profound to me that I feel like a little kid half the time because like I can't believe how simple sitting quietly in a mindful state the way we recommend has such a positive impact on your body. It's insanely simple and it's profound in its effect. The calmness of mind that you get in here, which then resonates to the calmness of body and endocrine system, and so you just notice less anxiety. I don't know what's your experience, girls. I mean, I don't know. I haven't talked to you much, Nancy, for a while, but I know Cheryl. She's been talking to Cheryl now. It's a whole other experience than it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, I did experiment a bit with the getting out of your mind recording that you had.
Oh, getting
I
out
did
of your
that,
head.
right, head. Um, and even at that time,
Oh, you froze up there, Cheryl. Oh, we lost Cheryl for a second.
I'm here though. I hear you
Yes.
too, Nancy.
You know what, Will? Actually, I was going to ask you about your own routine using mindfulness. Do you have time to do that? I know you're quite busy, but and have you noticed a change in yourself through using it?
I the most profound thing that works I've noticed a huge difference in me is when I incorporated mindfulness journaling.
The journaling, huh?
The journaling for me has been a lifesaver
What do you
because
think that comes out when you journal like that? It's just just like what do they call that? Like a flow of consciousness kind of stuff, or just very specific things that help?
I I put down my problems, my things that bother me, the things that I feel triggered over, and then my overall experiences from the day before and how I woke up. I do mine in the morning.
Oh, you do. Okay.
And It works for me because I can see the thoughts.
Mm,
So I'll give you. I've resisted journaling for a long, long time. I mean, my whole life. I began when I was a kid to journal a little bit. My mom would shake us down. Basically, we I had no privacy. Like at any time, my parents could walk into my room and go through my stuff. So I basically the only security that I had or privacy I had was in my head.
right.
Okay. So I had my mom found some things I wrote down when I was really, I mean, I was just learning to write. And I was trying to write some poetry, which I was quite artistic with pencil and paper and brushes and, artistic with drawing, but also I had some poetry that when I was in grade school, uh, people took a liking to. Some of my teachers actually took and sold some of my poems, and my mom found them and belittled me. Okay, and so writing, putting anything in writing for me, most of my life has been like I won't do it because I'll get caught in writing my deepest thoughts and then belittled over that. So I've avoided that, and it's really been detrimental because I'm left to only think about it. And what goes on in here can be quite dangerous because it's really not based in reality.
Right.
So for me to actually start writing down my thoughts and looking at them and going, okay, this is real, this is not, this is, and going through visually after I've written them
Right.
has helped to shift things inside my body that's very, very dramatic from the physical standpoint because my endocrine system is going through some changes where I don't feel anxious that as much. It's easier to talk to other people. It's not such a uh, hyper stress release type of a situation inside my body. I don't get stressed as easy as I used to. Just with journaling for the last 4 months.
Wow.
So for me, it's been really profound. It's helping me in my personal relationships. It's helping me in my business life. It's helping me relate to my kids differently, clients differently. It's given my brain a different way of processing information because I'm able to look at the information, look at my thoughts on paper, basically getting them out of my head, putting them on paper, and then looking at them objectively. It's been an extreme help for me, as well as several clients, because when we find something that works, we share.
Mhm.
Yeah. Cheryl, you're back.
Yeah,
What happened? We lost you there.
it just went poof. You know how these things go. Anyhow, um,
I was sharing about my journaling, Cheryl.
yeah, yeah, I do some of that now too. Um, when I find that I really am coming under something, I have to go and write it out, and I might spend parts of keep coming back to it for like a day or so, and keep going back and writing and um,
Yeah.
just and also identifying even like I was saying before, I couldn't identify my emotions so well. But even now, I'm thinking, okay, where is this affecting me in my body? A lot of times, I feel stuff, in my heart. How is it making me feel? Am I sweating in there? What's going on? How these different things affect me. Um,
Cheryl, weren't you saying before that you just had a scan done and a lot of things came up on your scan that seemed to connect with this as well? right?
Yes, I had a scan that was largely emotional, and I almost dismissed it. But I looked at the protocol, I looked at the statements, I looked at everything else and it was just all that was right on. But there was hardly anything in the stressors, and I thought, well, something must have gone wrong with the scan or something. But that appears to be it is emotional, and um, yeah, I get it.
Hmm. Wow.
I've experienced a lot of healing, working with a lot of physical healing. Um, One thing that I have struggled with, I don't talk about it much, for the past 10 years, is a form of, I guess you'd call it vertigo, which is, I feel like I'm, to some degree, sometimes I hardly notice it at all, but sometimes it can be enough that I need to lay down for a bit, but actually that's very little anymore. Um, but I do feel like I'm on a boat a lot. Things aren't quite stable, and it's a problem with my
Oops.
central nervous system. Um, and yeah, I have been to doctors. I've been to many alternative practitioners about it, and they can't do nothing. And I know that yeah, it's definitely got a big emotional basis to it. Things I'm still um, working on from my childhood.
Wow.
A lot of stuff from our childhood still affects us now as adults. It's amazing.
Right. Well, that's another whole topic, right, Will? The whole connectedness to our childhood traumas and things like that. I mean, we talk about that quite a bit.
Absolutely, it affects us. We're like a downloading machine from from basically the time you're you move from the zygote to the actual fetus in your mom when you're being gestated, all the way to about 7 years of age. You're just downloading everything.
Yeah, right.
So if you're low, if you're grew up in a family that's highly narcissistic and relatively psychopathic, like I did, then you acquire these behaviors. You can't help but not acquire these behaviors. That's some of the behaviors that I'm noticing now with me is some of the narcissistic things that are coming up now lately in the last few months. That's been, oh my gosh, never dreamed that I had these behaviors. And they're not recent behaviors. These are behaviors I'm like, oh yeah, my grandma. Oh yeah, my dad or my mom or the neighbor guys when I was a kid. So I'm having these flashbacks almost, and these dots connect. Like, oh yeah, there it is. So now I'm making new choices once I see the behavior, able to identify, and my whole life is shifting, and my body is shifting as well. I mean, I just dropped like 20 pounds, and I didn't do anything different except my mindfulness, my journaling, and then um, this mindfulness work in general. I haven't done anything different. I haven't done any more exercising. I haven't changed my diet. All I've done is worked on following my protocol and doing my psyche and the Bach flowers, and then my mindfulness exercises that I do. And 20 pounds just fell off, like literally in a month.
Well, this is, important stuff because we know how much both the mind and the emotions affect our health. And this is a part of, when we bring in clients and, there's so much more to the level of health than just, this physical meat suit, as you guys always refer to our bodies as, and
Right. Well, there's more. The physical health is really a symptom of what's going on energetically, emotionally.
Right.
in that subconscious arena, really. And if anyone is listening has ever had a scan or is interested in the scan, they'll understand with the protocol the actual how to address the problems. There's 4 components to the protocol. One is physical, and the other 3 are emotional.
That's right.
There's 75% more issues can be resolved if you just resolve them in the emotional state before they get to the physical.
That's right.
So
Well, that's something I think that is important to share with especially people that are listening, that they don't realize the importance. In fact, I didn't realize that either when I first started with you, Will, how, doing the color therapy, doing the Bach flower remedies, the psyche, all of these really tie into healing on a very different level that maybe you don't put any importance to it, but it really has quite an impact if you take advantage of it. Yes.
I put a big importance on it, but it's people don't have, for the most part, the mindset is I have pain in my body, that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Not realizing that your bladder infection or your urinary tract infection is directly a result of you being mad at your neighbor or
Right.
your boss, or you're pissed off about something. Well, that saying, I'm pissed off, came from somewhere a long time ago, and there's an association emotionally with your urinary tract.
Sure.
Okay, and just like you're a pain in the ass. Okay, or that you ever hear my grandma used to say that person galls me. Okay, uh, this is straight Louise Hayes. This is Deborah Shapiro, and Your Body Speaks Its Mind. This is emotional anatomy. There,
You
check that. There you go. There it is, right there. That's like one of the books to my
Okay.
Bible, right there.
wait,
You're
I'll
gonna
put.
have to talk. Yeah.
There we go. Oh gosh, hold on. There you go, folks. Deb Shapiro, Your Body Speaks Your Mind. Very cool book. Has a
Yeah,
lot of information. You could go through this book when you're going through something, and it'll really pinpoint what exactly is going on mentally, emotionally. I've had that happen a lot. You just are, all right. Why is my stomach hurting, or why is, what I mean? And you look it up in the back, or all this stuff about stomach, or what. It's all different things, and it's a great book.
like a few years ago, I broke one ankle, and that was mending, and then I twisted the other ankle really bad. Okay, you look it up in that book, and you can talk about why you're prone to having ankle problems. And it was right on for the emotional, the ungroundedness of the time right after a divorce that I was going through.
Well, of course.
It is profound. And I was told a long time ago by one of my mentors there that all disease starts in the energy or the emotional field first before it ever gets to the physical. The physical is the last ditch effort for our subconscious to get our attention.
Sure.
That's how profound the mindfulness things are, the exercises. They're so simple, but yet almost every guru, shaman, or medicine person of old, prior to allopathic medicine, this was the medicine.
Mm.
And we've been adopting and modifying our plan for a long time, and now it's growing into something that works very well. And the magic happens, the vibrant health possibility is when you address the mind and the emotions more than the physical body.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, and then like you bring up a lot the emotional trauma that we've grown up with, and all of that. I mean, it's there's a lot more to our health than just you know,
Of
and,
bacteria.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
and
Well, here's something that I'm noticing that this ties into viruses more so. Your retroviruses, your AIDS, your HIV. There's a common thread because I had it show up on my scan not too long ago for the first time, and I was feeling kind of down, depressed, not very well. I was this was just before I really started getting into the journaling, and I start asking questions as they show up on people's scans. I start asking, how do you feel emotionally? Do you feel a little down? Are you going through a tough time in your life? And our state of emotional health, like I was feeling depressed and kind of rejected and on in my personal life, and there was some things going on that I just was confused, I didn't know about, unsure, and not feeling confident at all. And I asked that if these other people are feeling the same way as I was when AIDS or HIV or retrovirus showed up on their scan, and they all say the same thing. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. And so it really solidifies with me some of the research in academia coming out in Europe. I haven't seen any in this country. But we're electromagnetic frequency generators. Just like that laser beam can cause a microorganism to grow inside of a test tube that's been sealed by putting the frequency of the microbe in the laser, the information travels like a thought with that laser into the tube, and the microorganism grew. When we're in an emotional state, we give off certain frequencies and chemicals that allow or create the space inside of us to actually manifest the infections.
mm,
So, by our emotional state and our energetic state, we can also cause those microbes not to be there, as well as the taking, the physical supplements. But our minds can create the infections and uncreate the infections as well. It takes some doing, but I mean, I'm living proof, and I have a lot of people that have had this. I've been kind of doing a little experimental research about these retroviruses because they're becoming really prevalent
Mm.
to the tune of 60% of the scans we do has retroviruses on them.
wow.
That's epidemic. That's basically proving Dr. Judy Mikovits's data, and actually our statistics are worse, are more epidemic than hers, that we're all contaminated. Okay, I'm saying that we're contaminated because of the stinking thinking, the
Mm,
negative emotional state we're in. I say that is where the environment begins to be altered so the infections can manifest and live. So because I've changed myself and a few other clients that are willing to work with us on that level, when those retroviruses or HIV or AIDS shows up, they go away pretty easy when you do your mindfulness work and altering the way you think. The infections go away much faster.
right.
We had a gal, actually, one of our scan hub there in northern Arizona. Um, she did a scan in January when I met her in Florida, and all we did was do the Site K, and she passed a 2 foot long tapeworm that evening.
Oh my God.
Ugh.
All we did was 8 Site K statements. And then that evening, she didn't even do any products at that point. It was all in the Site K. It changed the environment in the body so drastically that the body expelled a 2-foot long tapeworm.
Wow.
That's how important our mental emotional state is.
I wonder if I would have passed out. I see something. Jeez, but
I'd have it in a jar because that'd be like conversation piece right there. I'm telling you.
set it up for viewing, huh?
Absolutely. That's like a treasure right there.
Oh my God. Well, I think you need to bring that on the show the next time so we could see them. Would you do that?
Mounted on the wall.
I don't have it. Yeah. I didn't pass it. Sorry. But if I would, you will be the first one to I will show. Well, except Delanne. I'd have to show Delanne first. Because just think about that. Okay? Why or how would that be? Okay, didn't do anything different. Didn't change the diet. Didn't take any supplements, no anti-parasitic drugs or any herbs or any teas, nothing. All we did was an energy modality. And it did something to the body's immune system and amped the body up enough to kick that worm out. That's this long.
Wow. That's just insane, right?
That is how powerful energy medicine can be.
Right.
That's amazing to me. So my point is that whatever was energetically going on with that gal, 8 psyche statements altered the physical body to the extent in a few hours that it did that. Okay? There was nothing else that was different. That's called magic in my book. That's the beauty of taking health to the vibrant side. Because the natural health
Right.
industry of today, and I'm ashamed and disappointed that there's no third option. You're either allopathic medicine or your natural health industry, natural medicine. That's it. And the natural health industry is a sham for the most part.
Right.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, what do you guys call it? The gray coats, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you leave medicine, the allopathic medicine, the chemical medicine, and the only alternative is natural medicine, and they're doing the same thing. They're treating symptoms. They're not, and this gal that passed that tapeworm was doing all kinds of stuff, and it didn't work.
Right.
We have clients coming to us that are eating and consuming like a list, pages of natural health crap, and they're going blind, their stomachs don't work, they're killing themselves slowly with natural crap because it's not in the taking of the stuff that where health comes from.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did I cut you off? I'm sorry, I
No,
thought I heard
not at all. Not at all. I was listening, Will.
Don't get me started. Wind me up and turn me loose.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's all good stuff.
So, and some other things, like I'm having a little bit of a deal with my daughter. She's 16. Okay.
Right.
I divorced her mother when she was 7. Okay, and she's only been living with me now for the last about 10 months. And it was just today, like 10 months, not quite, just about, yeah, right at 10 months, that she's coming to understand that having rules and morals and doing her mindfulness stuff, which, you live here, she's not going to have a choice. You're going to do these practices. I don't care if you like them or not. You're going to someday you'll understand. I'm kind of a hard, a hard liner on certain things, and she finally
Okay.
is get.
Well,
What's that?
tough love. Little
Yeah,
tough.
I'm not here to be, I'm not here to be your buddy, I guess.
No,
Um,
there's nothing wrong with that.
and she's finally coming through to realizing that um, the negative impact of me leaving when she was 7, coupled with 8 years of her mother bad mouthing me and Delanne, and basically being lied to for 8 years. She's living now in the understanding that all that 8 years of information that she downloaded and is living as if that was all real was all false.
Oh,
So now she's dealing with her own internal anger and her feelings now are changing. Her acne, just into understanding in 20 minutes of a conversation, and then a few minutes after, the acne that she had on her face, the redness was gone, the big red dots on her face were almost all gone, with just coming to a new understanding and a relaxing. And I go to town and I see these girls in their teens and look like they got hit with a porcupine at high speed in their faces. The acne is so bad. What is going on in their lives that they're suppressing and they're living with on a daily basis? That their families don't even have a clue what's going on, let alone themselves.
right.
How many people listening have loved ones, have teenagers that have just massive acne on their face?
Sure.
When the most of like 80% of the acne and the coloration on my daughter's face just in a conversation and her understanding an updated view of life and taking a couple of deep breaths, the acne like almost vanished other than the dots themselves.
Wow. I was
Huh.
just going to look that up.
What's that?
I was just going to look that up in this book. And
Acne? Go ahead.
yeah, well, you guys talk amongst yourself while I find where it is.
Huh. Well,
So
that would make any teenage girl happy to get rid of their acne.
absolutely. The whole demeanor with my daughter, like it was like boom, transformed.
Hmm.
Well, it says here, eruptions on the skin represent inner emotional eruptions.
Yeah,
All the erupting, chaotic, hormonal, sexual, and confused feelings involved in being a teenager, and all the issues of confidence, self-esteem, worthiness, and acceptability in both teenagers and adults. And then it goes on to, I mean, that's obviously, acne isn't helped by, it says the liver is the seat of anger. Now, we've talked about that, right?
liver. Yeah,
Indicative of the stored up anger and frustration you are feeling inside. I always find these questions interesting in here. It says, what inner fears, lack of confidence, or self-doubt is erupting? And do you feel socially nervous or inept? So it's just very helpful stuff. It really makes you think about what might be going on inside.
it's our body talking to us, giving us signals. I learned that a long time ago. My very first, my first clinic that I opened. I noticed in this town I lived in that people were, first of all, they didn't even know they had feet until they had a pain or they tripped. They were that disconnected to their bodies. And so I kind of made this game up. They had to walk up the steps, turn the corner, and then walk towards me. And I made it a game and figured out that I could tell what was going on with their body in 12 steps from the time they got to the top of the steps until they got over to talk to me. Because people just don't know. I can ask them where your pain is. And that's about the extent of it. They have to really think, okay, I hurt. Oh, yeah, I guess I hurt over here. Okay? And so I've learned this language over lots of lot of time, like 20 years, of how to spot what's going on with the body. So I treat it like a Sherlock Holmes and a crime scene investigation. You read that book, Your Body Speaks Your Mind, and then you start watching people and asking questions, and you can't help but not figure it out. It is plain as day. If it's your left knee that's bothering you or your right knee, if your bladder is having a problem, if your kidneys are having a problem, if you have different things going on with your breasts, your armpit, it becomes very clear, very fast how to read the body. Because the body will tell you. That's what I love about the scan. The body's talking directly to the computer, or the computer's talking directly to the body, and there's no ego involved. It's just straight communication and data. And that scan report, I have yet to have one not be accurate that I'm aware of. I mean, you may, as the consumer, not be aligned with what's on there or living in denial of what's on there, but it is accurate.
Huh.
Because
How
I
would
was
that
having.
relate to?
Oh,
Hmm?
go ahead.
I was just wondering, like, how would that relate then to like a toddler or something, and they go in for their, they go in for their vaccinations, and everything changes. Um, there's obviously physical things that are happening too. Um,
Well, when you're looking at it from that standpoint, that's an assault on the body.
yeah.
Okay, that's a total assault. So, you know, that's two in my mind. That's two separate conversations.
Hmm.
Okay, because that's an outright assault.
Yeah.
That vaccine damage. It is unmistakable for me at this point in time that there is no such thing as an effective or safe vaccine. Period. The whole concept of injecting anything through the skin is a total fraud, as in like it's good for you. There's nothing about it that's good for you. I mean, yeah, they may inject something into you to stop the infection in a life or death situation. I'm not discounting that. I'm talking prevention, like vaccines, because vaccines don't prevent anything except they prevent the person receiving the vaccine of ever being healthy. That's the only thing that vaccines prevent is health.
That's quite a statement, right, Will?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just listened to Dr. Judy Mikovits's last interview just on Sunday or whatever it was. And this is the head of National Institute of Health's research for cancer and retroviruses. It's making the statement live on air that there's no such thing as a safe or effective vaccine. How much clearer does it have to be for people? I'm saying the same thing. There's thousands of healthcare providers out here that are saying the same thing. The only reason it's continuing is because people have been lied to and frauded and brainwashed that vaccines are healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We've been living in lies our whole lives. Patrick Jordan, in his book ICD 999 Vaccine Induced Diseases, has timelined it back to before the 1700s about the fraud with just vaccines. How much more data than you need than just that? It's a complete timeline with patents and government policies and history back to the 1600s. So the whole concept that somebody would actually line up, pay to have poison injected into their kid. Now, I'm sorry if you're waking up now in the middle of this, but because I was vaccinated.
Mhm.
My parents were both, well, my dad wasn't vaccinated. Like, they didn't have vaccinations in the 40s and the 30s. He got a couple of antibiotics, and he was on some other things because of his heart valve. My mom was vaccinated. My older half brother, he was in the military, got vaccinated. My little brother got vaccinated. He's in the military. He's a prison guard. And he thinks I'm crazy. So, but my kids didn't get any vaccines. Well, my two older ones, I didn't. They didn't until after the divorce, anyhow. They were all born at home. I can tell you my son started getting headaches. He was 12, and his mother took him to get vaccinated. He got like 8 or 9 vaccines at one time when he was like 8 or 9 years old. He lived with daily headaches for 5 years until he came to live with me 10 months ago. The headaches are gone.
Mm.
It took about 3 different protocols before the headaches, now they're gone now. The only way the headaches come back is if he goes out and has junk food.
Right. Well, Will, it was weird. I used to get a lot of migraines, and I think I have to equate it with the food. That I was eating a lot of things, perhaps that had MSG in them, and just a lot of processed food, even some health food that was processed. And I think that I noticed that the headaches went away after I really got rid of all that out of my diet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. Hi, Ethan.
We got Ethan.
Hey. Yeah.
So I mean, headaches sometimes can be very connected with some specific things, but I also thought I read something about headaches being connected to denying a part of yourself, or
Absolutely.
just having trouble processing something with the personality. I thought I read.
Well, you can look it up in that book.
Yeah, exactly. Headaches. I think I'll do that while you guys are talking again.
Yeah.
So, Cheryl, do you want to be a little transparent and talk about the vertigo thing?
Sure. What do you want to ask?
Well, I just want to. It's just there's some patterns that where vertigo is not necessarily in inner ear infection. Like that's really the common vertigo is if you have a sinus or an inner ear infection or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the other side of that, the systems breakdown inside of just having confusion or chaos or negative emotions and judgments and things inside of us because what Cheryl doesn't know is that there's quite a few people that have this vertigo that's not an infection. It's because of whatever's going on from your past, and it's like a central nervous system thing where your brain or your equilibrium doesn't talk to the rest of your body very well. Inside your head, your inner ears and your hips that talk to hold you upright. Well, when you have stress and trauma in your life from whatever, that interrupts the signal, so your balancing act in your body doesn't work very well. And the more like confused or confronted you get, the more vertigo things happen. The more out of balance, like Cheryl said, it's like being on a boat that's not stable.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I've had vertigo episodes and migraines for, gosh, I started getting migraines after my daughter was born. Um, and I've had vertigo episodes, attacks. Um, I used to have a lot more of them actually. I don't actually get the attacks anymore, which is it's kind of like getting a migraine, but it's just spinning instead of pain. Um,
That's
you have to kind of lay
fabulous.
down and you might throw up and stuff, and you just have to wait for it to pass. It's like a migraine, but it's just vertigo instead. Um, I don't get those anymore, but it did kind of set in long term. I We moved to Texas briefly 10 years ago for 3.5 years, and I had some sort of a illness right before we left. Which you're looking at it's like, totally, it's emotional. I look, it all makes sense now. It's like we were, this big upheaval, moving to another state. Um, and once we got there, I think I went into like a mild form of chronic fatigue or something. I felt like I was about 80 years old or something, and even doing normal things like going grocery shopping was a big, um, it was hard. And I just felt so weird and stuff. And um, I did go to a chiropractor back then, and I think that helped a bit. I never sought Western medical help for it. For whatever reason, I didn't feel that it would be of use. Um, but the unsteadiness has stayed with me for 10 years, even though I have had a lot of healing, big leap working with Will and stuff. And yeah, when if I do get emotional about something, yeah, the vertigo does get worse, and I can start feeling like everything's going like whoa. So there's an emotional component to it, definitely. And I'm definitely, I do my mindfulness every day. Sometimes it's just a few minutes. I realize I got to make the effort to put more time into it. It's it's easy to just the day can just go by and nothing's happened, and you make excuses, oh, I'm busy, or having a special needs child, I can't just kind of check out, I've got to be aware and stuff. Um, I guess I could have my reasons and my excuses, but I realize the importance of the emotional work, taking that time for the mindfulness. It has made a difference. Um, yeah, seeing my own thoughts as just thoughts, just that's all they are.
Not getting attached to them.
Not as much
Have you guys listened to
process.
Have you guys listened to Kyle Cease at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, somewhat. Yeah.
Because I have taken some of his advice, and where normally I would like to work more and work more and work more and to basically get further behind. So I will take a break and rest for a while or do something constructive or artistic and things. And then I find myself being way more productive by knowing I have to do something and then break. Like he takes a break for like 2 days or something. He was talking about going to his cabin and taking like a day or two uh, just to relax and then doing a project. I am not taking that much time, but I'm taking some time to take like a break. What a difference does that make? instead of trying, because I was taught that the harder you work, the more you'll succeed. When it's really the opposite, really.
Right.
That was huge for me. That was like in my mindfulness stuff. I'm like, that is profound. You want to do more? Take a break first. It seems a little
Yeah,
backwards, right?
Yeah.
not really. I know for me, a lot of times I'll be doing my artwork and I'll get answers to things I've had questions with in other areas. So,
That's
Right, but
yeah,
you're living. You just set your life up though, Cheryl, that you enjoy doing your artwork. So it's like you're already in that break, meditative, artistic mindset already. Because I'm talking about like office work and other things that are like job type stuff. Where for me, I don't take a break. It would always be busy, busy, busy. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm jealous. You get to like live your passion in that regard. You're like doing your artistic uh, jewelry and things. I mean, that's like a dream almost.
well, I'm kind of compelled to do it, but it's not always, what you call fun. I mean, it has its periods of time where it's just perplexing and you just stare at it and you go, oh my gosh, you're stuck and you just don't know what to do with it. And it can be, yeah, frustrating in that way, but you come back to it and something clicks and you've made something you like or not. This is process.
Right.
um since there's a little dead air there for a second. We were talking about the migraines before, and I did find the page. And some of the things it says on here, causes of migraines: fear of failure, issues of control and power, repression of feelings, a fear of participation and involvement, and a way of getting attention, care, and love. Yeah, so there you go.
Huh.
All makes sense. But
Okay.
So in the on our website bodyelectrician.com, there's a suggested reading tab. That book and like 50 some other ones are in there, and we're adding a bunch more. Literally, like there's close to 20 more books that Delanne and I have finished, and other clients, like Cheryl has turned us on to a couple books, like The Confidence Gap, Emotionally Absent Parents. I mean, there's so many good books now that we're sharing amongst ourselves in our little network here, the family, if you will, that we're the titles will be on the suggested reading tab. So you'll be able to have access to them, or at least know what we're all up to, helping ourselves help other people.
yeah, excellent. That's very helpful for people. And maybe we'll post some of this on our Facebook group, and just saying hi to
Absolutely.
everybody from that group. Body Electrician Live, Body
Oh,
Electrician Community Kitchen, sorry.
well, and there's a bunch of new people in there because we've had several new clients recently in the last couple months, and they have found solace, they have found support, and they have found help on different levels in that group. So
Oh,
thank you guys and girls for interacting with each other in there because it is extremely powerful having that group, Body Electrician Community Kitchen. So thank you too for creating that and then supporting it.
Well, Will, you always say thank you to us, but honestly, it's a way for us to say thank you to you.
mhm.
You
And I
see?
do, we appreciate, Dylan and I really appreciate that because the resources that are in your website, that what's in that on that Facebook page, really helps us take some of the repetitive, what we would call repetitive, or some of the monotonous type of questions that you guys get to, field, and that's extremely powerful, and we really appreciate that.
Sure. Well, it is. It's a nice place for people to connect, and we try to post, little recipes and all kinds of little things that help people live a better life.
There's
Yeah.
some new recipes Delanne has. We had some pizza crust. We had pizza last week. Oh man, oh yeah. You guys are gonna have to bug Delanne for that pizza crust recipe.
What was it made
Grain
of?
free. I don't know. It tasted good though. I don't. I think it was some tapioca or yucca or yucca or something. I don't know. I don't. All I know is it tasted great. I ate it. So get a hold of Delanne
Yeah.
if you want to know.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
And we had some homemade ice cream. Uh, Ian and I took turns cranking away on the ice cream maker. It was strawberry ice cream. You need to get that recipe from her. So, oh yeah, real homemade ice cream.
Good stuff. What do you use as a sweetener, Will? What do you guys use?
I don't know. You're not talking to. I'm the
Well,
consumer around here.
not the chef. I'm the ice cream chef.
I make sure we can buy stuff that's needed in the kitchen.
It's it. It's it. No, I have a recipe that uses maple syrup as the sweetener. It's delicious, actually.
Oh,
Good.
yeah, maple syrup or honey or
Yeah.
even one of our clients down in Florida, Mikey, he had got us hooked on some stevia from Peru.
Oh, does that
Oh
taste?
man, there's what?
Does that taste differently
Oh
than?
yeah, there's an aftertaste. It doesn't taste as filling as honey, or as creamy as honey,
Mhm.
but it has a sweetness without like most stevia has kind of like that soda pop aftertaste.
Yeah, or I sometimes feel that about stevia, that it's like a artificial sweetener taste.
Yeah, that's what Deland hates it, but
Yeah.
this stuff tastes like wow. There it doesn't have that nasty aftertaste. This is like stevia, like, and you only need like a few granules. This stuff is so
Huh.
strong. It's not cut with anything. It's just the extract out of the stevia, and oh man, hopefully Mike will be able to get us hooked up with a supplier.
Yeah, definitely. Because, yeah, there are some issues I know with some brands of stevia not being,
It's the
I forget
fillers.
what they are, but, hmm,
So we're always looking and trying new things around here.
yeah.
There you go. Well, guys, is there anything else we wanted to add to tonight, or
Can you believe an hour just zip past?
it just zipped by? I mean, we could keep it to an hour, or if we have more to add, we can. But
Well,
I'm
I would appreciate an hour because I have some things and I need to get done yet tonight so I can go to bed.
perfect. Perfect.
So if you're good at an hour, we can do these more often.
There you
I
go.
love talking about this stuff because it is so profound. And
That's
and if anyone's got any questions, either put them in the Facebook, the community kitchen room, send an email, do something, call, and we'll answer questions. Because I know Cheryl and Nancy have in shows past, like with Dylan, there's been questions. So if you want us to talk about something, you want to hear me talk about something, email or let Cheryl and Nancy know.
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. And usually we can hook something up on here where we get questions live, but we've had a lot of issues with that. I don't know why people have trouble finding it. There is a link on YouTube. It's just at the very bottom of the screen, and you just click on that. It'll bring you right to the Google page, and you can type in a question, and we'll see it. The same on the Google link, I believe. And It's pretty easy to do, but for some reason people have trouble doing it. So I don't know what that's about. But
Yeah, you can always send emails. Like I could, you
yeah,
can keep
exactly.
an eye on the emails or something. You know, there's a way to communicate with us.
Sure,
Do it.
that's it. Well, in that case, then I think we had a really great conversation here. Thank you, Will, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like to hear you specifically because you know they have a lot of questions, specific questions. But like I said, we'll make sure we extend that to the kitchen group and see if they can add some questions the next time for us. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you again, everybody, for watching. We're Body Electrician Live, and we're so glad you joined us. And we'll see you again soon. So good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.